Well, thanks for coming in, Rev Dr. Jason W. Morrison, fresh in from sport. Saying number 17. We're in Proverbs 23, verse 22. The grandson's having a bit of a play up there. You can hear him barking in the background. Listen to your father who gave you life, and do not despise your mother when she is old. It's the second part of this that concerns me, because we're living in a generation now of single mothers. I'm not criticizing them, I'm just saying that's how it is. That's what we've ended up with. And what's happening is they're losing their way. They can't be the father and the mother. A lot of the fathers are letting down these women, and for one reason or another, the women are trying to raise these sons on their own, and it's not going well for them or the sons. And it could be daughters and mothers as well. You say, what do you mean? Well, let's just do something. I haven't rehearsed this, but let's have a look. News. Most recent. Israeli-American families chilling text before they were murdered by Hamas. Not that one. For his 8th birthday, her son wanted an Eminem-themed birthday party, and this mum delivered. Mother son's sheltering bathtub from tornado. Next step for father and son charged with execution, murder of missing man. Child killed, mother sibling hurt in crash. Man who allegedly murdered mother in Sydney southwest was on bail for attacking her. There's one 31-year-old man stabbed his mother to death, killed a cat, and set the family home on fire. If we go, and that's not a Google search, this search engine's not quite as powerful as Google, but we'll do this anyway. I'm just showing you that it's not. There's on New York mum whose daughter was killed. She was killed in Israel. Pregnant mother of 2 killed in family driveway. Have launched a search to track down a man who shot and killed a young mother. Daughter kills old mother for property. This isn't uncommon. For gain. Daughter kills old mother for property, and the father wants justice. America's worst mum, whose daughter 5 was raped and killed after being kicked out. No, it's disgraceful. And all this stuff, okay, all this stuff, the Hamas stuff's taken over it a bit. But what I'm trying to show you is it does happen. It is happening out there. Do not despise your mother when she is old. Now, the reason for this can be they get spoiled. I saw we were with the dog today, and there was a couple having a little picnic at the water's edge with their dog. And there's this guy comes along, all the tats and all the rest of it, and I'm going, oh yeah, with an Alsatian off the lead. And I'm thinking, well, Alsatians are pretty trained up. Usually they do what they're told. And it goes and runs in the mud and all the rest of it, and next thing you know, it's run off on this guy over to the people that are having the picnic. I was 200 metres down the path, down the track with the other dog, my daughter's dog, and it's jumped all over their picnic blanket, all over what they were doing. it wouldn't do what it was told, and this guy made a complete idiot of himself. Complete absolute idiot of himself. And when it was all over and we'd come back, I said, was that something that you were uncomfortable with? And they said, terribly. The guy had no control over his dog whatsoever. And I said, well, it's probably a psychological issue on discipline. Probably about discipline. So I've still got the wall paint on that protects you from the sun from winging. Because he hasn't had any discipline, he has trouble disciplining his dog. Some people go the opposite way, they over-discipline. This was a case of under-discipline. This Alsatian's just running around wild. She said, I was going to tell him to put it on the lead, but we didn't have the courage. And I thought, geez, I wish I was there. I would have told him to put it on the lead. And another, like, there was a woman that parked, and another case, a woman was parking at Gosford Boat Ramp. And this male comes along and tells her to move because he's got a boat. It wasn't even a boat position. And I said, I know I was there at the time. I said, mate, you can't tell her to move. It's not for boats. And he turned around and he was going to go me. And I said, no, you're in the wrong, mate. Another thing too, no, you can't speak to women like that. I've told my girlfriends to F off at the end of the relationship, but this guy was just standing over this woman. So away he went. He goes, I thought you were saying to me to F off. I said, no, you're telling her to F off. You can't do that. No, you can't do that. And he disappeared. There's no discipline. Now, this turns on these old mothers. They spoil these sons and daughters. They give them their money, they house them, they feed them for years and years, and you can hear the Australian birds in the background. They feed them, they house them, they run them around, they give them their drugs, they give them their alcohol, they give them their pills, they kneel in front of them and listen to their little petty complaints and things that they should have been developed and learnt and passed by now. They make them into little husbands, and they're the wife. They see themselves in their children. They're trying to see themselves in their children because they're very insecure, these mothers. They've been pumped, dumped, tried to have relationships. The children have probably wrecked them, and that's all they got left. This happens over and over again. But if they'd had to listen to the father, if he was worth listening to, excuse me, because a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are just drunks and addicts and who knows what, that can't see. Words that aren't reflected by example don't have any power. You have to lead by example. If you want to be a great father and share your stuff and be listened to, you have to have had proven that you've lived that way yourself. And, strong men aren't into being, full of alcohol and drugs and stuff. No. That's mind altering. That's not alpha. I don't care how tough or strong you look. Like this guy today. His dog just ruined the whole picnic for people. Mud, no. And this is one of probably these single mother persons that hasn't had the discipline from the father. He had no father to listen to, or he didn't want to listen to the father. Okay? A lot of the time these mothers get so angry with the fathers, they micro-incrementally undermine the father's relationship between the children, and they won't listen anyway. That's very destructive behaviour on the part of the mother. But they do it. And these women don't realise what they're doing in the big picture to these children when you spoil them. You need the father there to give them the power of the direction for their lives. And when there's a breakdown in these families, there's always going to be despite. There's going to be something that's going to be despised in those children. Their identity is affected. It affects how they perceive their future. They lose their identity. I know how this works. I was in second class and they come in and said, we're going to change your name. I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't know my father. Next thing I'm getting another name. And you despise things. You do despise things. There's things that we do as parents that we think are good, but they're not. We're ruining our children instead of strengthening our children by enabling them to be over-dependent on us. And as a matter of fact, you're grooming them to be dependent on you. And that's abuse. That is vandalism, because you're not releasing them into the world in which they need to go. You're too dependent on your own children, and you're making them dependent on you so they don't go anywhere. But be careful, because at some point they're going to despise you from undermining them. No father and an enabling mother, a recipe for disaster. You see, it's time men come back to actually being what they're supposed to be, which is straight. This generation's far from that. And they will get the love and respect that they deserve, usually. By the time you get to my age and you're meeting people that have had children and all that, you got no chance. But you keep leading by example, and you keep trying to do your best without these people wearing you out, because they will wear you out and they will despise you. Once this spirit of despise gets in the heart of a person, it's very hard to weed it out. And it will come for the mother. They'll wear the mother into the ground, I guarantee you. She'll break down. She'll just end up probably a drunk or an addict. She'll give in, but they've done it to themselves. Listen to your father who gave you life. If you have that blessing, listen. And do not despise your mother when she is old. I'm Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.